Hermes, the epitome of luxury, now finds itself at the center of a storm. The brand once synonymous with status, exclusivity, and generational wealth is suddenly being dragged into the mud. Reports are flooding in that Hermes stores across major cities, including New York, Paris, and Shanghai, are suspiciously empty. Boutique employees are whispering about declining foot traffic. Shelves once graced by waiting lists now sit undisturbed.
It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. Put the finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
You can continue to expose all of these retailers. Nobody's going to care.
I am about to crash.
Y'all would never catch me in nothing fake. No fake earrings, no fake bracelets, no fake shoes, nothing fake designer. It's going to be a no for me.
Out.
Dust starting to gather in corners that used to glisten under spotlighted displays. Why? Because, allegedly, Chinese manufacturers, the ones that have been secretly powering Hermes' billion-dollar empire, have pulled the plug. And it wasn't just a quiet halt. No, it was a calculated, jaw-dropping reveal that hit TikTok like a missile. A viral video, now sitting at over 30 million views, claims that the holy grail of handbags—
I need you people to wake up and critically think and stop believing this shit that you see on TikTok, okay?
You mean to tell me you believe that this man is making your Birkins in China? If he's a Birkin artisan, then I'm an astronaut.
It's made in China. I can get that for $12.
Go outside and touch grass. Some of you guys feel like this is your moment to shine and you can finally stick it to people that buy luxury.
the Hermes Birkin is being mass-produced in China for just $400 a pop. We're talking about bags that are sold for $20,000, $30,000, even upwards of $38,000 in store. The video alleges that these bags are then lightly finished in Europe. Maybe a stitch here, a stamp there, just enough to slap on the coveted Made in France label and fool a global customer base.
This is why this bag from our factory only costs you 1,000 USD.
Have y'all seen that TikTok by the Chinese guy exposing how luxury goods are actually made? The only real difference? China ships the products to Europe, slaps on a Made in France or Made in Italy label, and boom, luxury? It's ridiculous.
The implications? Hermes has been charging outrageous markups on bags not even made where they claim to be born. If that sounds like brand suicide, just wait. It gets worse. The expose didn't just hit TikTok, it hit the global luxury economy like a wrecking ball. Within days, reports began flooding in from customers and boutique insiders alike. Flagship Hermes stores in Beverly Hills, Hong Kong, and even Ruse du Faubourg Saint-Honoré en Paris started seeing something unheard of.
Got a lot of requests, do Hermes next. And that's why we're here in the Highland Park Mall.
Italy, made in China, or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way. I have spent over $100,000 of my own money dissecting luxury bags, cutting them open, analyzing every stitch, every layer. Why? Because I had to know what made those bags so expensive.
It requires a lot of skill to turn it and get it on the right way.
Il y a des bouchées, des bacs plus 4, 5, 6, on en a. Hein.
No lines, no wait lists, no frenzy. The Hermes boutique in Shanghai, deserted. Luxury shopping districts that once had bodyguards managing queues outside their Hermes locations were now eerily quiet. Bags still on shelves, associates with nothing to do. And here's the wildest part. The legendary Hermes waitlist, the one you couldn't buy your way onto, the one some people literally bribed sales associates to get on, is reportedly drying up.
None of the brands these creators mention, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Chanel, especially Hermes, need to go to China for production. And here is why. Labels like Made in France and Made in Italy comes with strict restrictions. And brands at that level don't risk compromising that. It's just not worth it.
Gone. Ghosted. Like it never existed. Buyers, even the ultra-wealthy, aren't rushing in to flex anymore. They're embarrassed. They feel duped. They're watching the TikTok on loop, comparing the raw factory footage to the polished in-store displays, and asking one dangerous question. Have we all been played? And when trust dies in luxury...
These are pieces of artwork. These artisans train years and years to make one of these bags.
Fabrice is doing the last stitching on a Kelly bag. A Kelly takes around 13 hours to be made, depending on the materials that we make it. Our artisans, they need to do 4 years of training to be able to manufacture a Kelly bag.
Well, Hermes says, made in China, does it feel cheaper? No, that's not a quality issue. It's luxury brand washing.
Hermes, you guys, it's time to show off your factories. No, I don't want to wait to go on YouTube and watch a beautiful documentary on. Show them off right here on TikTok. Let the world see. Okay, get like China. You gotta be ghetto about it. Just let people know.
So does the hysteria, because that's what makes the whole system work. Scarcity, secrecy, and the illusion that you're part of a private club. But now that illusion is bleeding out in real time. And what came next? It wasn't just consumer silence, it was retail panic. The video has ignited public outrage, and not the quiet kind.
De l'entrée, où on me donne des morceaux de cuir jusqu'au moment où je vais avoir livré ma pièce, je veux pas qu'on reproduise un geste de façon indéfinie en se disant bon bah je fais toujours ce même geste et donc, je pense qu'on est vraiment là pour apprendre un métier et pas des tâches.
My point is, I think it's crazy how designer brands have been selling things for thousands when China sell them on and literally they're so cheap. If the Chinese manufacturers are making the same, like the actual Birkins, and then they are also selling these on the side as well, technically this is an absolute fucking bargain because it's the exact same material as a Birkin.
We're talking full-scale backlash across every platform. Instagram influencers publicly ditching their Birkins, luxury Reddit threads on fire, and former loyal Hermes collectors selling off their pieces in protest. Consumers who once wore their bags like armor are now wondering if they've been scammed. Was it all smoke and mirrors? Was the prestige, the heritage, the wait lists all just marketing fluff to justify a price? Tag that had nothing to do with craftsmanship and everything to do with illusion. Even fashion YouTubers and handbag reviewers, many of whom were once loyal Hermes defenders, are now turning their cameras inward, asking the uncomfortable questions no one wanted to touch. What are we paying for? Is a $38,000 bag made in a Chinese factory still a luxury item, or is it just another cog in the global branding machine? The trust is cracking. And in luxury fashion, trust is everything. In response, Hermes has vehemently denied the allegations. The brand didn't waste time issuing a statement dripping with elegance and control, just as you'd expect from a house that spent nearly 2 centuries cultivating an image of perfection. In their official communications, Hermes doubled down, reaffirming that the majority of its leather goods are produced in France. Not outsourced, not subcontracted, crafted by skilled artisans trained in century-old techniques at dedicated Hermes ateliers. The company pointed to its vertically integrated model, boasting that it owns and controls each step of the production process, from leather sourcing to final stitch. They claim this is what justifies their eye-watering prices, not just materials, but heritage, not just design, but legacy. Every Birkin, they argue, is the result of precision, patience, and unparalleled artisanship. But that's not what the public is seeing. Not anymore, because for all the corporate posturing, the video continues to dominate headlines, racking up millions of views by the hour, and the phrase "made in France" is beginning to look a little too convenient, a little too strategic. If a bag spends 95% of its manufacturing life in a Shenzhen factory before flying to Paris for a signature stamp, is it really French? And Hermes knows the stakes are existential. If the public starts believing the brand's origin story is just a high-gloss myth, the entire luxury illusion could collapse. However, the controversy doesn't end there. Hermes isn't just defending its reputation in press releases, they're going to war in court. According to multiple sources, the brand has launched an aggressive legal offensive against the Chinese manufacturers involved in the exposé. The lawsuit reportedly accuses the manufacturers of defamation, claiming the viral video spread false and damaging information. They're also hitting back with intellectual property infringement charges, alleging that these factories not only leaked confidential processes, but may have been producing unauthorized look-alike bags under the radar. But here's where things spiral. The Chinese manufacturers aren't backing down. In fact, some of them are now hinting at counterclaims, alleging that Hermes has for years exploited global labor dynamics while maintaining a fraudulent facade of exclusivity. If those counterclaims go public, Hermes won't just be fighting for its brand, it'll be fighting for its entire business model. What started as a viral TikTok might now spiral into an international courtroom battle that peels back the curtain on how all luxury fashion is made. And what happens if other manufacturers come forward? What if Hermès isn't the only one? What's brewing behind the scenes is bigger than one video. It's a war over who really controls the narrative of luxury, and Hermès might be losing its grip. The incident has broader implications for the luxury industry. What happened with Hermès isn't just about one brand getting caught in a lie. It's a full-blown reckoning for the entire high-end fashion world. Luxury is built on illusion, on mystique, on the belief that what you're buying is rare, artisanal, and deeply rooted in culture and legacy. But this expose didn't just crack that illusion, it shattered it. Now, consumers aren't just side-eyeing Hermès. They're starting to question everyone. Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, Dior. Suddenly, all these brands are under the microscope. Because if Hermès, arguably the most prestigious of them all, can be this misleading, who's to say the others aren't playing the same game? Fashion forums are flooded with threads titled things like, "Is anything actually made in Italy?" Or, "Are we all just paying for hype?" Even YouTubers and influencers who used to fawn over luxury unboxings are flipping their scripts, dissecting seams, tags, and supply chain reports. The conversation has shifted. It's no longer about what looks good on the arm, it's about who made it, where it was stitched, and why a glorified tote bag costs the same as a used car. And this time, brands can't hide behind slick campaigns and Paris runways. Once Hermès launched its legal attack, the rest of the luxury industry didn't breathe a sigh of relief. They panicked. Because Hermès wasn't just battling one factory in China, they were battling a truth that could unravel the entire high-end fashion food chain. And the other brands? They saw themselves in that mirror. Suddenly, executives at Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Prada, and Dior were holding emergency meetings. Internal memos leaked. Supply chain audits were rushed. PR teams were told to get ahead of the narrative. But no one could agree on how. Because here's the dirty secret. Most of these brands use global outsourcing too. Maybe not for the whole bag, maybe just for zippers, hardware, lining, or partial assembly, but they've all dipped their toes in those waters. And now, consumers are sniffing out every inconsistency like bloodhounds. They're pulling up factory reports. They're scanning serial numbers. They're calling customer service lines and asking real questions. And brands are terrified. Some have quietly pulled certain products from stores. Others are trying to revamp their labeling before the mob reaches them. There are even whispers that a few labels might rush out new 100% European-made lines to try and re-establish purity, basically hoping that if they wave a shiny enough object, consumers will forget what just happened to Hermès. But it's not working, because the internet has already decided. If Hermès can lie, anyone can. And that seed of doubt, it spreads fast, especially when luxury is based on perceived value. So now the entire industry is in triage mode, desperately trying to stop the bleeding before another bombshell leaks. And spoiler alert, there's already more footage circling online. Consumer trust is at stake. And in luxury fashion, trust isn't a nice to have. It's everything. If buyers no longer believe the narrative, they stop paying the premium. Full stop. Because luxury isn't just about materials, it's about meaning, the perception that what you're buying is superior, special, and exclusive. Without that, it's just overpriced leather. That's why brands across the board are scrambling. Internal teams are reportedly re-evaluating product labeling policies, sourcing disclosures, and even workshop footage. Expect to see glossy, behind the atelier marketing rollouts in the coming months, showing perfectly lit French artisans lovingly hand-stitching bags in 200-year-old buildings. But will it be enough? Because consumers are getting smarter. They want transparency, receipts. They want brands to prove what they claim, where the leather came from, who stitched it, why it's worth 5 figures. They want supply chain audits. They want ethical sourcing. They want sustainability, yes. But more than that, they want honesty. And here's the threat. If the industry doesn't adapt, if it keeps playing the same old game, consumers will walk. The resale market will collapse. Demand will drop. And the entire house of luxury could come crashing down. This Hermès scandal isn't just a PR crisis, it's a warning shot. And the rest of the luxury world would be foolish not to take cover. The Hermès controversy serves as a brutal wake-up call for the luxury industry. This wasn't just a viral video or a PR hiccup. This was an unmasking. The brand that stood atop the fashion world, untouchable, revered, wrapped in layers of mystique and craftsmanship, was exposed in seconds by a shaky video filmed inside a factory thousands of miles from Paris. And once, the illusion shattered. There was no putting it back together. But this goes far beyond Hermès. This moment is symbolic. It's the tipping point for an industry that has, for too long, hidden behind smoke and mirrors. The truth is out, and consumers are no longer hypnotized by labels, logos, or legacy. They're watching, they're asking questions, they're connecting. The dots between outrageous price tags and suspiciously opaque supply chains. If the luxury industry doesn't pivot now, if it doesn't stop insulting its customers with half-truths and hollow buzzwords, it won't just lose money, it'll lose the one thing it needs to survive: belief. Because luxury isn't just about quality, it's about trust. It's about the story you're selling, the dream you're offering. And right now, that dream is cracking at the seams. Consumers want more. They want receipts. They want ethics. They want proof that their 5-figure purchase isn't built on lies and exploitation. And any brand that refuses to evolve will be left behind, because the modern buyer isn't just stylish, they're awake. The era of blind worship is over. The new era? Radical transparency. And Hermes just learned the hard way. Once the curtain's been pulled back, there's no hiding behind it ever again.